Hello, my name is Benji and welcome to Dice vs Cards. Today we continue our adventures in the dark universe that is Warhammer 40K by making a dive into the shallow end of its history and lore. Now, considering we have about 33 years of an ever-evolving storyline to cover here, filled with plenty of retcons and some necrons, I'll do my best to bring you up to speed with all the key points that have got us to this point in time. In the 41st millennium, there is only... Wait, how about we start 10,000 years previous in the 31st millennium? Humanity has spread from Terra, aka Earth, using so-called warp travel, where ships enter a parallel dimension called the IMPERIUM, which you can go ahead and visualise as a form of hell. Humans have inhabited countless planets across the galaxy. However, this is not considered a golden age for mankind. Terra and her colonies have been separated from one another by catastrophic events that have allowed the IMPERIUM to leak into real space. These warp storms rage across the galaxy, growing to immense size in the void of space, making long-range travel impossible, and those systems that could reach each other often engaged in war, vying for control over their little pockets of the galaxy. In the wake of this, Terra needed to be united, and so in stepped the Emperor of Mankind, an immortal being of immense psychic power. He sought to reunite the many worlds of humanity by any means necessary. They would be joined with the newly formed Imperium of Man. To help achieve this, the Emperor created the Primarchs, genetic sons engineered from the Emperor's own genome. These beings of almost demigod power, and nearing the end of their development, were stolen from the Emperor and scattered across the galaxy by the gods of chaos, the sinister inhabitants of the Imperium and the greatest known enemy of humanity. Attempting to recover from this devastating loss, the Emperor set about a new plan, using the genetic code of the Primarchs to modify humans into super soldiers, thus creating the Space Marines and organising them into 20 legions, one for each Primarch. With this work done, the Emperor embarked on his Great Crusade, uniting both humanity with the Imperium and the lost Primarchs with their anointed legions. 2 centuries and 2 redacted Primarch legions later, the Great Crusade had reunited the remaining 18 legions with their respective Primarchs and conquered endless worlds. With this primary goal achieved, the Emperor had decided it was time to withdraw from leading the Crusade in order to return to Terra to work on a new project. He left the role of War Master to his most trusted Primarch, HORUS. However, as it would turn out, this trust was misplaced. Horus's mind and soul had been twisted and corrupted by the ruinous powers of the Chaos Gods. Declaring his true intentions, Horus turned brother upon brother, splitting the legions of Space Marines in half, with 9 remaining loyal to the Emperor and 9 falling to Chaos. Thus began the HORUS Heresy, a long and storied civil war. The deciding battle in the HORUS Heresy was known as the Siege of Terra. It climaxed with the Emperor of Mankind confronting Horus upon his flagship, the Vengeful Spirit. At the start of the duel, the Emperor could not bear to kill his favoured son. Unfortunately for him, Horus did not share this sentiment. He would stop at nothing to torture and kill his patriarch. It was only partway through the duel that the Emperor truly realised what Horus had become. Unleashing his full psychic might, the Emperor eradicated Horus both physically and spiritually, lest the ruinous powers of Chaos attempt to resurrect him. This was a bittersweet victory for the Imperium. The Emperor was gravely wounded, having to be interred upon his golden throne in order to remain alive, ultimately becoming a living corpse of what he once was, ensuring that the Imperium would never truly recover from the fallout of the HORUS Heresy. Over the next 10,000 years, not much improved for the Imperium, One by one, the remaining loyalist Primarchs are either lost, presumed dead, or placed into stasis. The Space Marine legions dwindle to a fraction of their strength, being divided into smaller chapters that lessen their power and their influence. The Imperium is also now besieged by many threats, old and new, spreading their forces even thinner. Taking his Primarch's place as War Master of Chaos, Abaddon the Despoiler leads a total of 13 crusades from a permanent warp storm, the Eye of Terror, setting large armies of Chaos Space Marines, traitor guardsmen and demonic hosts upon the worlds of the Imperium. However, Chaos is not the only threat. For the last 10,000 years, many alien or Xenos races, as we'll call them, have challenged the supremacy of the Imperium. The ELDAR, a mysterious ancient race that were once one of the few rulers of the galaxy, allowed their hubris to birth the fourth and final Chaos God, SLAANESH, and in so doing almost wiping out their own civilization. The remaining survivors then become divided into 4 factions: the Craftworld Eldar, the Dark Eldar, the Harlequins, and the Ynnari. Elsewhere, an old enemy of the Eldar has started to reawaken: the NECRONS. Known as the NECRONs here when they were made of flesh, are metallic beings devoid of emotion and are slowly regaining strength in order to return to power. Another Xenos race that has caused much concern for the Imperium are the ORKS, with a capital K. To picture an Ork, imagine a hooligan. Make him green, make him mean, give him an axe and a gun, and the ability to rapidly self-replicate, then there, you have yourself an Ork. Beings of pure destruction that will stop at nothing to start a good old ruck. Oi, there's Yumi over there, he's looking for a good crumping. A minor threat to the Imperium is the Tau, a relatively small empire broken down into a strict caste system. A young race, having only recently taken their first steps amongst the stars, have still in a short period of time expanded rapidly and now harness ever more advanced technology. Unlike the Imperium of Man, the Tau welcome other races, assimilating them into their own population, even humans, for they believe that in doing so they are acting in the greater good. Hailing from outside of our galaxy, the Tyranids pose possibly the greatest threat to all life, an assortment of many different creatures both large and small, but all controlled by the hive mind. Tyranid fleets have one goal, and that is to devour and satiate an unending hunger. They travel from system to system, stripping planets of all biomass and usable materials, then leave for the next. Many worlds of the Imperium have been lost to this ceaseless force, despite this representing only a small portion of their number. Whilst the threats to the Imperium seem numberless and unrelenting, the Space Marines are not the only line of defence the Imperium has at its disposal. The ASTRA Militarum, as the Imperial Guard to us veterans, are by far the most numerous of all the Imperium's military organisations. Arming men and women with mass-produced equipment, they are supported by heavily armoured vehicle divisions and artillery. Clad in similar armour to the Space Marines but without the genetic implants, the ADEPTUS SORORITAS march upon the battlefields of the Imperium, fighting in the Emperor's name. These Sisters of Battle are the militant wing of the Ecclesiarchy, the religious cult of the Imperium which reveres the Emperor of Mankind as a god. These nuns with guns bring righteous fury upon the enemies of the Imperium. The Adeptus Mechanicus are the keepers of all technological knowledge, most of which has been lost to the tides of time. It is their belief that flesh is weak and should be replaced by bionic parts. Their tech priests thirst for knowledge and will happily deploy their legions of bionic warriors and robotic armaments to recover what has been lost. The most honour-bound of the Imperial forces is the QUESTOR Imperialis, the Imperial Knights. single crew, giant war machines piloted by noble families. They represent a somewhat imposing presence on the battlefield. A single knight can turn the tide of a battle, but a whole house of knights is a foe that is nigh on impossible to defeat. But for all of the Imperium's defenders, some fear it will still never be enough. In the closing days of the 41st millennium, Abaddon the Despoiler launches his 13th Black Crusade, targeting the fortress world of CADIA. After many weeks of grueling fighting, and after suffering heavy losses on both sides, Abaddon was able to destroy CADIA. Along with it, a network of pylons of mysterious origins, but which acted as anti-warp conduits. The removal of these ensured that the Eye of Terror could spill into real space. This is believed to be the cause of the Cicatrix Maledictum, a great rift which has split the galaxy asunder, dividing the Imperium into halves and causing travel between the two to be treacherous. Despite all of this, hope is not lost. With the help of the ELDAR, Reboot Guilliman, Primarch of the Ultramarines, a renowned Space Marine chapter, has been resurrected from his near-death state to be the appointed Lord Commander of the Imperium. Guilliman wasted no time in amassing his Indomitus Crusade, mostly backed by the new breed of Space Marines, the Primaris. This crusade raged on for more than 100 years, attempting to recover what had been lost to the Great Rift. Now, with the launch of 9th edition, we eagerly wait and see what's in store for the grim dark future. I do hope you've been enjoying the tabletop content on the channel. However, that's it from me. I'll see you next time.